the back of your bulletin are the Catechism questions of the Lord's Day. I'd like to turn you to them. As is our habit, let me ask the question, and would you respond with the answer when I pose those questions? What does God forbid in the 8th commandment? God forbids not only such theft and robbery as are punished by the government, but God views as theft also all wicked tricks and devices whereby we seek to get our neighbor's goods, whether by force or by deceit, such as unjust weights, lengths, measures, goods, coins, usury, or by any means forbidden of God. Also, all covetousness and the misuse and waste of his gifts. But what does God require of you in this commandment? That I further my neighbor's good where I can and may, deal with him as I would have others deal with me, and labor faithfully so that I may be able to help the poor in their need. In 1 Corinthians chapter 6, and particularly verse 10, probably should start with verse 9. Do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of God? Do not be deceived. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor homosexuals, nor sodomites, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners will inherit the kingdom of God. On a list of sins and a list of sinners, thieves are placed there. Well, the commandment did that. It wasn't something new. It wasn't something novel. God didn't suddenly put that here in 1 Corinthians. What he did was he was demonstrating what his law really was. Okay? That you will love your neighbor as you love yourself. Not because he's such a good guy, but because the God whom you are supposed to love with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength said you were supposed to do that with his creation because he made them, and they're his. So I'm supposed to care for my neighbor and love my neighbor, and I'm supposed to trust the God who created me and gave me all the things that he wanted me to have, so that I was not supposed to decide I could take them from somebody else as if God had made a mistake giving them to him instead of to me. And God set down ways to govern that. God forbids not only such theft and robbery as are punished by the government, okay, but God views as theft all wicked tricks and devices by which we seek to get our neighbor's goods. That we would treat them with the same honesty, the same integrity, the same gentleness, and the same consideration that we would want them to treat us. If I went to Romans chapter 10, but I put my marker in Romans 1. Now I am confused. I don't know what I did. What I was interested in doing is having us look at what God had said, that we were supposed to treat them as we wanted to be treated by others. So what we want to have people do to us, we are supposed to do to others. We're supposed to do it for their good, for God's glory, and out of trust that God will give us what we were supposed to have, because he knows what it is, and the things that were good for us, because he knows what we are. in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, that no one should take advantage of and defraud his brother in this matter, because the Lord is the avenger of all such, as we also forewarned you and testified. The Lord is the avenger of all those who abuse what God has given them in whatever circumstance. And they take the things for themselves, or they abuse the things that God has given them. You see, God has said that he gave us what he wanted us to have and what we were supposed to use for his glory. That's what's forbidden. That everything we have and everything we do is only for his glory. But I need to eat. Yeah. And I eat in order to glorify God. And I thank God for what he's given me in order to glorify him. And I rejoice in what he has given me because I glorify him. So it's not that I don't get anything. It's only that I recognize that everything I get comes from his hand deliberately. He didn't give me something and say, ooh, I made a mistake there. He gives me everything he wants me to have, whatever I think of it. I didn't ask him if he would give me a replacement hip. Okay? If you had explained to me what was going to happen, and they tried to, my desire was to run the other direction, but I couldn't because my hip hurt too bad. But he gave it to me so that I would understand his grace and his mercy and my weakness. So what I'm looking at here is God forbids me from saying to God, what you gave me was wrong. What I need to say is, what are you teaching me with what you gave me? And what do you expect of me? And so, if I may turn to Matthew chapter 7 and verse 12. Therefore, whatever you want men to do to you, do also to them, for this is the law and the prophets. What does God require? That I further my neighbor's good. That if my dog runs away, he brings it back. If his dog runs away, I bring it back. If his lawn needs to be cut because he's out of town, I cut his lawn. If my lawn needs to be cut, wind up having a neighbor who comes over and cut it because they know I've been in the hospital. I want to treat men the way I treat them, or I want to return to them the way they treat me. That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be the example by which they understand what it means to serve God with their lives and their resources. If I may, from Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 28. Let him who stole steal no longer, but rather let him labor, working with his hands what is good, that he may have something to give to him who has need. So my labor isn't for my retirement. My labor isn't for my estate. My labor is to have to give to someone who has need. Doesn't mean I give everything, but it does mean that I give it cheerfully, saying, Lord, you know what I need. You've given me what I needed. You've given me more than I needed. Why did you do that? Is there something on the horizon that I don't know about? Or is there somebody close at hand who needs what you have given me? So that my thought is not about me, but about those whom God has placed near me, whether in my family, or in the church, or in the neighborhood, or maybe even in the country. So what is required of me is that I think more of others than I think of myself, and more often of others than I think of myself. And that I share with others what I have more often than I keep it for myself. In Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. Fulfill my joy by being like-minded, having the same love, being of one accord and one mind. Let nothing be done through selfish ambition or conceit, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem others better than himself. Let each of you look out not only for his own interests, but also for the interests of others. So the commandment, thou shalt not steal, is not just don't take. It's make sure you give and protect what God has given to someone else.